whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice in thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious.
Because the Lord is going to restore everything. You're going to have a total different vibration on the earth, a total different smell. You're not going to be walking down the street and smell shit and piss, you know, and no foul odors or nothing like that, because the lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and it's going to be a whole total different vibration. You know, you're going to see the aura and how things are going to change and how elevated things are going to be. Our senses are going to be heightened, you know? Everything about us is going to be glorified.
For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. For the child shall die at 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build, and another inhabit. They shall not plant, and another eat. Whereas the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth or trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, the Lord.
The Lord said that on the Heavenly Father's right hand there are pleasures evermore. And it says that I have not seen, neither ear heard the things which the Lord hath prepared for them that wait for him. You know, there's a whole another world of greatness that awaits us when the kingdom of heaven is established. It's not seen in this society. In this society, we only see carnal things that reason offers in this society. But when the kingdom is established, the Lord is going to open us up to a whole nother world, you know, of pleasure, of knowledge, of wisdom, understanding, you know, just, I mean, can't even be put into words, you know, because our imagination only goes but so far.
Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakudash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings. Salutations to the hope like out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. What I want to get into this morning, you know, is another morning news and prophecy. All right. And I want to touch on, all right, what's really happening, you know, because as people, you know, are all over the place, you know, and caught up in all these smoke screens and propaganda, okay, of Esau Edom, you know, no one's really paying attention to what's really happening, okay, and what's happening is we're seeing a transition from the old world government to a technocracy. Okay. And this lesson was inspired by a news and prophecy done by the beloved elder brother Yasha Wamba. And got this video from a channel, okay, called Courtney Turner, I think podcast, the name of the channel, but we'll go to the video. Seems like a pretty, interesting, informative channel, so Lord willing, we'll be tapping into that, seeing what they got, you know, as we, watch, this devil, all right, go with his move, okay, because ultimately the end goal is this devil establishing, a new world order. That's what he wants out of all of this, out of the civil unrest, this third world's war, okay, this what you got? You got Jacob's trouble, the persecution of the tribes, the collapsing of the economy. Okay, everything that the devil is doing, is geared towards him establishing, his new world order in the earth. Okay, so I want to get some precepts first, and then let's go here. I want to get some precepts, and then we'll go to the video. So this is the book of St. John, chapter 8. And see, it's a blessing to be able to see these things, because when the scriptures speak about, our people being blinded, they're blinded, to the reality of what's going on. They're blinded to the scriptures. Okay, they're blinded, to the things that truly matter. Okay. But when you go to St. John 8 and 12, it say, then spake Yahweh again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life, man. Okay, so we have the light of life, okay, which means we're not in darkness, so we can see past the gimmicks and the propaganda. We know this ain't it. You see, everything that the devil is presenting, as what he's got going on next. He's presenting this as some type of upgrade, some type of enhancement, to transhumanism. And, he's presenting, all right, darkness, okay, as light. He's presenting death as life. Okay, and he's able to do that because people don't have the true light. All right. If you have the true light that's in your house, you can see past, all right, the gimmicks of the devil, the lies of the devil, the darkness of Esau Edom. You can see what he's really doing. See, the truth sheds light on everything that the devil is doing. Okay. And that's why our people, they're in the darkness because they sleep on the scriptures. You see, the scriptures, is nothing to Jake. It's foolishness to Jake. Because their mind, when it comes to the scriptures, they think of living in tents, being primitive. Okay. They think that the scriptures is primitive compared to the modern world. And not knowing that the scripture sheds light on the modern world, it gives us the game. You see, everything we know is based on what's written in the scriptures, the prophecy. You see, we understand where this devil is going according to prophecy because what we're in the light, we're following Yahweh Shai. You see, Yahweh Shai, he comes in the volume of the book, is putting us on game. So we're not walking in darkness. There's a lot of people that are blindly following Esau, okay, to this new world order. Okay, and it's going to be presented as life. He's hitting them with the same play from the garden. Okay, you shall not surely die. He's coming with the same format. Okay, you see, just modern technology now, man. All right, so it's a blessing, to walk in the light, to be able to peep game. You see, and then we're looking forward for life beyond, and we're looking forward for life beyond Esau. Okay, but that only comes through what? Faith in the scriptures, man. Okay, so let's go here. All right, because the devil, let's go here. Because this devil mindset is that he's going to be the Most High. Okay, when you go to 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, which is Esau." You know, so that's another thing the light reveals. Okay, and identifies this devil. Okay, he's not a white man, he's not European, he's not an American, he's Esau Edom. Okay, this is who the devil is, man. The wicked that the Bible speaks of, man. Okay, so this man has been fully revealed to those that are in the light. Okay, it says, "Who oppose it and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing that he is God." All right, that he's the Most High. Okay, and he's trying to pull this off through technology, man, through witchcraft, through left hand means. Okay, through sorcery. You know, because we go into this technocracy, man. There's nothing but high level witchcraft. Okay, that this devil is trying to establish as the new government in the world. Okay, his global government is extremely satanic. You see, and he wants a new world order under Satan, man. And technocracy is nothing but the left hand priesthood. Okay, that he wants to establish as a global government. Okay, it says, uh, jump down. All right, I'm jump down to verse 8. It says, "And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is the prophets." And see, this is why the devil knoweth he have but a short time, because the prophets have been raised up, you know, and this is the biggest threat, you know, to his new world order, his word going out. All right. And that's why you see him making moves, okay, for censorship. You see, but the Lord, all right, still has his word going out, you know, with free course, because it ain't that time. Now we see things are trending, you know, towards the famine of the word. But until the Lord, all right, says it's done, you know, we're going to be allowed, you know, to constantly consume this devil, okay, through this word, man, through prophecy. You see, and shall destroy him with the brightness of his coming, and that's the appearing of Yahweh Shai. Okay, but then it describes this devil, okay, when you go into even him, all right, then you know this speaking of a man whose coming is after the working of Satan. Okay, so this devil rules in the energy of Satan. You know, and that's why enabled in order to advance in his, you know, society. All right, you have to become what, satanic. Okay, you look at the people that, you know, are, you know, celebrities and entertainers, and the people that's, okay, always, you know, put in your face. Well, those people have to become satanic, because Esau rules in the spirit of Satan. Okay, in order to be blessed by the devil in his society, you have to become satanic. Okay, and what he's doing now with this new world order, to participate in society, you have to be satanic. You have to bend the knee to Satan. Okay, it says, "With all powers and signs and lying wonders," which this goes into his technology, man. Okay, because through his technology, he's able, you know, to throw miracles. Okay, you have the AI. You know, I seen watching some things before, you know, we went live, and you had the AI, okay, with Michael Jackson working in Walmart, okay, Tupac and Kobe Bryant at the World Trade Center, okay, and you look at the comments and people are in awe, you know, keep them coming. We need more of this, you know. They're worshiping, they're wondering after these lying wonders, man. Okay, and it's going to increase. You see that these people, especially is Esau, you know, tightens things up. Okay, and there's scarcity, and people, you know, become more desperate, man. Okay, his lying wonders, he's going to present his lying wonders as salvation, man. You know, and he's setting the groundwork for that, man. You know, because the chaos is being created. Okay, but then he's establishing the infrastructure. Okay, to where he can present, okay, the lying wonders, his AI, his technology, okay, as a salvation. It says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth that they might be saved, man. And this speaking of our people, okay, because 2/3 are the Lord is allowing 2/3 to be deceived, because 2/3 hate the truth, okay. And it says, and for this cause the Most High shall send them a strong delusion that they shall believe a lie, that they all might be damned or condemned or judged, who believe not the truth but have pleasure in unrighteousness, man. Okay, so the Lord has given our people over, to the strong delusion of Satan, all right, of Esau, okay, and this technology and his society, because our people, they complain and they gripe, okay, but they don't want to see this place destroyed. They just want, more perks. They want more slave privileges. You know, they content with that. Just more slave privileges, and they'll be cool. They don't mind. All right, the earth ran under the energy of Satan. Okay, the earth, the ecosystem being destroyed, animals, children are prey. They don't care about that part. They just want more slave privileges within this system. Okay, and that's why the Lord has lumped 2/3 up within this great judgment that's coming. Okay, so let's segue, all right, to this video. All right, and like I say, it's I'll be following this guy. I think he um Patrick Wood, that's his name. He's supposed to be this major, technocrat expert. So we'll go back. Um, he's gonna go back to the beginning, which we went into this before. All right, because technocracy, okay, is an idea. They call it a cult. That goes back during the time of the Great Depression. So you're talking about a little bit over 90 years. Going on 100 years. All right, the technocracy was a ideology of certain Edomites. And they was pushed out of the way. You know, looked at, kind of, off, but they've always, stuck around, lingered around. Okay. And now, like they become enriched, okay, through these corporations. And this ideology now dominates, okay, the governments of the world, especially here now in America. Okay. So he's going to go back to the beginning. You have to remember that, these guys, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, have heavy ties, okay, to this, all right, technocrat ideology. Okay. Elon Musk, all right, grandfather on his mother's side, okay, was heavily a part, okay, of this movement, this technocracy movement. He was a leader in it. Okay. And then you had Donald Trump's uncle, okay, which when Nikola Tesla died, okay, he was the one, that went and confiscated, all Tesla notes, okay, for his inventions. Okay, that was Donald Trump's uncle. I think John, I think Donald Trump middle name, he's named after his uncle John, if I'm not mistaken. I had to fact check it, but yeah, so when you go into this technocracy ideology, Elon Musk and Donald Trump have heavy ties back to this, man. So there's no coincidence that they're at the forefront of this transition from that old government to new government of technocracy, man. Okay. So I'm gonna let this play. And he's gonna begin to introduce these certain players, these certain technocrats that's around Trump, which we covered, some of these guys. All right, but it's always good to revisit, what's really happening, man, and not get caught up in the smoke screens. Okay, or these fake peace deals and the trade war with China and that's BS. All right, it's all smoke screens. Okay, this is the play. All right, at hand. So let's play this.
Will examine the first 9 months of the Trump administration to assess how this plan is being implemented and what to consider, going forward. Here you go. So, with a couple of new definitions about, what is technocracy in the first place? This is from the Technocrat magazine. That's the official publication of technocracy, 1937. They said technocracy is the science of social engineering, the scientific operation of the entire social mechanism to produce and distribute goods and services to the entire population. For the first time in human history, it'll be done as a scientific, technical, engineering problem. Period. End of subject. Furthermore, there will be no place for politics, politicians, finance or financiers, rackets or racketeers. Technocracy will distribute by means of certificate of distribution available to every citizen, birth to death. It's important to realize that technocracy wants to remove the political system altogether. They're doing a good job, basically, with the neutering of Congress, the neutering of the presidency. They're basically snatching power away from politicians. At some point, I think personally that the political class will be wiped out altogether. Not yet, but you can see the handwriting on the wall. So technocracy in the 1930s made 7 requirements. These are all seen in the technocracy study course. You can go find that on the internet. It's been scanned and there's good copies. And 3 of those 7 requirements are as follows. Provide a continuous inventory of all production and consumption. Requirement number 4, provide registration of the type, kind, etc. of all goods and services where produced and where used. Number 5, provide specific registration of the consumption of each individual, plus a record and description of the individual. These requirements have never changed in almost 100 years.
Oh,
They could have been written today just as easily as they were written in 1934 in the first.
yeah. So you can see, when you go into these different requirements, and this was back in the 30s. This is back in the 30s. See, but now these devils have the technology to implement these things. Okay, so this system is, you go into number 5, it said provide specific registration of the consumption of each individual. Well, how are they going to know, all right, what each individual is doing, all right, because each individual is going to be tagged, okay? How they're going to know their consumption because they can see how much America, let's see, like now they got data, okay? They can see how much steak America is buying, how much, cheese America is buying, okay? Because of, the product that's being brought, the barcodes. Well, how are they going to able to quantify that into individuals? Well, they're going to have to tag each individual so they can know how much you're buying of this, how much this person is buying of that. Okay. So how are they going to quantify that? Okay. They're going to be able to tag you and it's going to be that RFID. Okay. And we're going to explain that how that's being implemented right now, real time. Okay. You see? So this is a plan that went back hundreds of years. Okay, well not hundreds of years, decades, like I say in 32. So it's coming on like 95 years, ago from the depression, until now. All right, and these technocrats has always been in the background, okay, and they've been steady chipping away, at this democracy, okay, of America. All right, and these technocrats, because see, back during this time, the technocrats had the answers to, okay, the government, okay, but now the script is flipped to where the government answers to these technocrats, okay. So now there's no barrier between, all right, the people and the technocrats anymore. You see, government used to regulate, okay, the corporations. Now the corporations regulate government. Okay, and the government was the last barrier between these major corporations, okay, and the masses of the people. Okay, so now what you're seeing is a complete corporate takeover, and he's going to introduce, some of these major players, all right, in which they're still the underlings of the elites that really control, all right, the whole spectrum, okay, of this new government, this new world order that they want to establish through technology, man. All right, under Satan. Okay. So let's play some more.
Place. So we have to figure out today who are these people who are executing this plan in America on behalf of technocracy. We need to name names, in my opinion, so that you can have an understanding who's pushing this, who's the architects behind it. Well, here's one: Elon Musk, arch technocrat for sure. He was in charge of Doge in the early days of the Trump administration, and he's been circling ever since. Now we have another pal of Elon Musk, Peter Thiel. He's been hiding in the shadows, but here's the founder of Palantir. His house philosopher is Curtis Yarvin, and he was also the guy that mentored J.D. Vance to enter into politics in the first place. Now Vance appears to be Thiel's man on the inside of the political system, and probably the next president of the United States. Then you have David Sachs, arch technocrat, billionaire, one of the original members of the PayPal mafia, along with Thiel and Musk. He's Trump's AI and crypto czar. What does that mean? Well, this is an appointed position. He doesn't have a salary, apparently. I can't find any record of a salary, but as a special advisor to the president, he's just considered the AI and crypto czar. His tenure should have been 130 days. That's the rules associated with being a special advisor to the president. However, he's still there, issuing orders, strategies, etc. Wow. Here's another arch technocrat, Mark Andreessen, the kingmaker. I call him the kingmaker. he was at the table when Trump selected all these people in the first place in late 2024 to assume positions within the government based on their qualities of technocrats. Mark Andreessen has chosen to be not visible, but nevertheless, I'm making him visible. Then you have arch technocrat Michael Kratsius, director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Kratsius was formerly the managing director of a company known as Scale AI. Scale is the largest, and I mean by far the largest dominant training facility for AI in the world. He has a company that employs some 220,000 members of people around the world to train AI to do its magic. So he's now on the inside as well. This is an appointed position. And I do not believe that he had to stand before the Senate to be confirmed. I could be wrong on that. Now we have arch technocrat Howard Lutnick. He will play in our discussion going forward. But Lutnick is a great friend of Elon Musk, and he and Musk kind of architected the Doge facility that we saw in the first months of the Trump administration. Now he's the Secretary of Commerce. Oh boy. Lastly, we have arch technocrat Larry Ellison. Some of you have seen him on national TV. He's not, he doesn't like the limelight for sure, but every once in a while he gives interviews, and some people, but behind the scenes, consider Larry Ellison as the shadow president. I can't vouch for that because I'm not on the inside, but I'm just saying some people in the tech world consider Larry Ellison to be the big cheese calling all the shots.
So you go into Larry Ellison, which is, the CEO of OpenAI, which that's where you get the Chat GPT, and the reason why they allow, Chat GPT to be a free, tool that you can use because the AI is learning, and all these men that are surrounded by Trump, they're surrounding Trump, okay? All these men are major technocrats, okay? Major technocrats, man. So this is what is really being rolled out, okay? Like I say, people get caught up in the smoke screens of trade war and the fake, peace deals of Trump and all the antics and, all these, things that really don't matter. Okay, the terrorists, and, all these different, gimmicks. Okay, that they run. Okay, under Trump, but this is what's really happening, man. Okay, and they want you to call up in these arguments of, you got niggas arguing about tariffs like a nigga know what a tariff is, and you got, people arguing about, whether Trump should send tomahawks to, Ukraine. Okay, and they put all these things out there to keep people distracted and arguing while they constantly roll this out. Okay, because Trump let you know what he was about day one. Okay, you go into the Stargate project, let's look at that. We'll go back to this, but you go into, all right, the Stargate, okay, project. All right, so let's go here. It says the Stargate project is a new company, all right, which intends to invest $500 billion over the next 4 years building new AI infrastructure for OpenAI in the United States. We will begin deploying $100 billion immediately. This infrastructure will secure American leadership in AI, all right, create hundreds of thousands of American jobs and generate massive economic benefit for the entire world. Okay, so you see how, they're presenting this as a what? Okay, as a plus, okay, to the people. All right, and ever since Trump has been in office, they've done nothing but slash jobs. Okay, jobs have been destroyed. The government jobs being destroyed. Certain industries being destroyed. Okay, massive layoffs. Okay, the economy has gotten worse. You see, but they present AI as the savior. Okay, when AI is nothing going to be, AI is going to be nothing but a digital dictator. Okay, and this is the first thing that he established. Okay, was $500 billion. Okay, to be allotted to AI infrastructure. Okay, was just going to go into data centers. Okay, and you see data centers, people complaining about how destructive data centers are, to the environment and to people. Okay, light bills are going up. They're affording. Okay, the lights. They're affording. The effect that these data centers are having on the grid because they pull so much power from the grid. Okay, to run those supercomputers continually. Okay, and they're affording the cost. All right, to run these data centers. All right, on the local, communities. You see, so as people, as they are caught up, okay, in the horse and pony show, okay, Trump. People forget this man was a reality TV show, man, a TV star, man. Okay, he's a character. All right, and then while he has people, because whether you hate Trump or love him, you're distracted. If you're still caught up, okay, in this narrative or this love and hate, dealing with Trump, well, you're caught up in a distraction while they're investing into what they really want to do. They're setting up, okay, what they really want to do. Okay. So, um, let's go from there. Let's go back to the video. Uh,
So the kingmakers of the Trump administration have a combined net worth of over $1.2 trillion. That's a lot of money.
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want.
It probably is higher now than that because stocks have been going up recently, and their investments have been going up as well. So probably it's higher than this, but this is what I can get at least by the end of 2024. These are the people that are driving the digital state. No question about it. They're betraying the MAGA movement and the populist movement in America. They're guided by this philosophy called the Dark Enlightenment, which we're not going to talk about today. I won't in any case, but their intent is to destroy America, but good. So we're just going to look now at this video of Larry Ellison telling you what he thinks should be happening in America and around the world. Let's take a listen to this.
When you come to government and what government's doing, there are artificial intelligence tools, and some of them I know that Oracle have developed around financial management for government, but also tell us a bit about because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
How do you take advantage of these incredible AI models? And the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. And in the Middle East, in the UAE, for example, they're incredibly rich in data. They have a lot of population data. The NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link. We need to unify all of the national data, put it into a database where it's easily consumable by the AI model, and then ask whatever question you like.
So you're really, through the use of this, you're revolutionizing the way government works.
So it says they revolutionizing the way that government works. Okay. So let's go here. All right. And they talking about this data. And Larry Ellison is saying, okay, we need to consolidate all this data, okay, on one major database. Okay. That way we can centralize this data. Okay. Now, Doge, what was they doing? They was going around, okay, the IRS, okay, Department of Human Services, and all these different departments, and they was just taking data. Okay, and what was they doing with it? Well, let's go here because Palantir, this is what Palantir plays a part, okay, a role in consolidating, okay, all this data, okay, for a central system. Okay, so let's go here. So you go into the chat and I ask it, could Palantir be used to consolidate all data to be used to govern and regulate society? All right. It says Palantir could theoretically be used to consolidate data for the purpose of governance and regulation. Okay. Now they try to butter it up. Okay. It said what Palantir can do technically. Palantir's platform like Gotham, Foundry, and Apollo are powerful data integration and analytical tools that are designed to, all right, that are designed, all right, to ingest data from diverse sources, structured or unstructured. So Palantir is able to just take in data from Facebook, data from Instagram, data from the IRS, data from the banks, data from the hospitals, data from this, and put it all on one system. Okay, so this is what Palantir is doing right now as we speak. Okay, they're gathering and harvesting, they're ingesting all this data, okay, from all these different sources to centralize, to consolidate it and centralize it on one major database, man. It says normalize and link that data across systems, provide insights through advanced analytics, AI, ML, and user-friendly dashboards, control access through granular permissions and audit trials. All right, it says these capabilities make it suitable for use in centralized governance, especially for public health, okay, criminal justice and law enforcement, national security and intelligence, infrastructure and transportation oversight, and regulatory compliance. Okay, and it says when I jump down, it says centralized power. Okay, it says one platform controlling all data means a single point of failure. All right, let's see. I'll jump down. So I asked another question. Okay, so we know Palantir, all right, can be used to consolidate all data, all right, to a central database. Okay, and I said, So I asked, I said, could the RFID microchip be used to link people to AI infrastructure like Palantir is creating? Okay. It said that's a, a really insightful and quite loaded question. Okay. It said theoretically, yes. Okay. It says an RFID microchip could technically be used as a unique digital identifier for a person. Okay. And this is why you see them rolling out what? The digital ID. This is how they're going to link you, okay, to the infrastructure. So now they don't they because like I say right now they can see how much America is buying this or buying that. They can see how many Americans are watching this TV show. They can see, all right, how many Americans, okay, are Christian, and that they can see these things now, okay. But now they're gonna put an identity to it, to each individual. You see, now they have to put an identity to each individual, and this is what Palantir is creating. Okay, the platform and the software to do. Okay, to be able to identify each and every individual and what they got going on real time. Okay, your carbon footprint, your biometrics. They just check your heart rate at will. Okay, and that's why you got these wearables. You see, technology went from handheld, to wearables, to now the next level is the technology going in you. Okay, so it can be a unique digital identifier for a person. It says the RFID microchip could technically be used as a unique digital identifier for a person, linking them to a large data infrastructure, such as one managed by a platform like Palantir. You see, in essence, the chip would be a physical tag that allows databases and AI systems to connect digital records to a physical human presence. You see, read this again. It says, in essence, the chip will act as a physical tag that allows databases and AI systems to connect digital records to a physical human presence. Okay? And we're seeing the beginning of this with this digital IDs. They're doing their trial run in London, okay, to where you have to have what the ID to work. Okay. It says RFID tag embedded in or carried by a person emits a unique ID. This ID is linked to a digital identity in a central or federated database. Systems like Palantir, Foundry, or Gotham integrate that ID with other data, medical, financial, buy, sell, travel, legal, etc. The AI infrastructure can then track interactions, authenticate access, or automate decisions based on those data links. Okay, this is technically feasible using current infrastructure. RFID is already used in logistics, passports, key cards, and some biohacking communities. Okay, so this is what's happening. This is what's really happening, man. Okay, Trump and China trade war, and all that's fluff. All right, it has nothing to do with what's really happening, man. Okay, and everybody's in position. They have all these technocrats in position. Okay, they're destroying, government regulations. Okay, that will stop them, from doing what they need to do. Okay, so let's go here. I want to play a little more of this. All right, because you people that still think and you still got America, talking about MAGA, and you still got, MAGA supporters, and they have no idea, man, that MAGA, all right, was a Trojan horse, all right, to numb you people to what they really got going on. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit here. All right, So let's play a few more.
Welcome to the next evolution of AI, built right into the AlterX platform. Now, you
Point. So let's look at the action plan going forward. The action plan was released in July 2025 on the whitehouse.gov website, no less. It's called Winning the Race, America's AI Action Plan. You can look it up on the whitehouse.gov website. The URL is at the bottom, just in case you miss it. And this was under the authority of President Trump. He didn't write this, by the way. There's no way. But the principal authors of this study, or this action plan, Michael Kratsius, assistant to the president for science and technology. Remember his picture above? David Sachs, special advisor for AI and crypto. Remember his picture above? Yeah, arch technocrats all. Marco Rubio, acting as assistant to the president for national security national security affairs. He's a national security advisor at this point. He's also the Secretary of State. This has dual responsibility, and I don't ever remember when this was the case, but nevertheless it is. So he's on this as well, but not as Secretary of State, but as assistant to the president for national security affairs. So we know who wrote this document. It was arch technocrats, not Congress, not the president, but these arch technocrats who are dedicated at this point to overthrowing America for good and for all. Here you go. There were three pillars that we're going to discuss here. The action plan for building empire throughout the world. It's about the whole world now, not just America.
And it said the action plan for building empire throughout the whole world. Because see, what we have to understand, they're colonizing the earth, okay, through corporations now. You see, when Esau first colonized the world, it was under these European governments, okay, and America being, you know, a offshoot of the British government, okay. So this world now is colonized through European governments, you know, America, all right, Britain, French, Spain, okay. That's why you look out into the earth, okay, and you see, all right, that these European governments, okay, have these foreign interests throughout the world. You know, you go to British, you know, you had Jamaica, you know, you had India, you know, China, okay. You look at America, all right, you know, you Central South America, okay, the French, you know, America, Britain, you know, they all have their portions of, you know, Africa. You know, you go into, I think that's the Council of Berlin, where these Edomites discuss how they will carve up Africa. Okay. So the old world was colonized, okay, by these European governments, you know, including America. Well, this new world, they're carving out through corporations. That's why there's certain corporations that have more money, okay, than countries. There's certain countries, man. Okay, because now they're going to colonize the earth based on these corporations. You see, and they're going to do it digitally. You see, so this is the phase that they're going into, man. All right, and that's why these governments are being weakened. All right, it's intentional. Okay, the governments are being weakened, but these corporations, okay, are becoming stronger, man. Okay.
We have our own problems in America. MAGA movement, the populist movement, has been totally betrayed at this point, in my opinion. But we can cry up about our own misfortune. But now the technocrats, the arch technocrats, America is not enough for them. They want the whole world. Pillar 1 talks about accelerating AI innovation. Pillar 2 talks about building AI infrastructure. And we see that basically 1 and 2 speak about programs like Project Stargate. You saw this in the first part of the administration, where President Trump got up with Larry Ellison, one of Ellison's few public appearances. Sam Altman was there as well. And, you know, they basically said, well, the president said, I'm going to wipe away all of the regulations that will prevent you from doing this project to build AI. But then Pillar 3, lead in international AI diplomacy and security. This is really stunning to me because it speaks of building empire. Here's the table of contents of the document. I just took a picture of it so you could see it. Export American AI to allies and partners around the world.
So he said that he speaks, you know, this, you know, these pillars, okay, of technocracy is going into building, you know, empire. And this is what these devils want to do. You know, their mindset now, okay, is to destroy the old world and build a new one. Okay, this is how this devil is thinking. Okay, in his mind, he's going to destroy and dismantle because we're watching a controlled demolition, okay, of this old, all right, government system, okay, you know, so-called democracies and, you know, republics, okay, and to bring in a new world, okay, under technology, man, okay, and joining and merging people to this technology, all right, is more control. So let's read this Psalms 2 and 1, all right, because this is what it all boils down to. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Okay, and we go into this word rage, okay, in the Hebrew. It's the Hebrew word ragash, okay. It goes into you know, to be in a tumult or commotion, to conspire, to plot, okay. So we're seeing these devils conspire, okay, which conspire just means, you know, two or more people, okay, plotting, all right, or inspired to do wickedness, man. Okay, so you have these devils, these elite devils, along with the elites of these other nations, okay, that have their mindset, you know, to conspire, okay, to do evil. You see? So when you go into let's finish this out. All right. And it says, the kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. So this is, you know, comedy to the Lord, what these devils are trying to pull off. You know, and that's another thing with this new world order too. That's why they want to get okay into your mind. All right, they want to join you with, you know, a machine, because they want to block out, you know, the remembrance of the Most High. They want to block out, okay, the the concept of righteousness. You see, they want, when they say a whole new world is bigger than buying and selling, they want a whole new concept of what existence is. Okay, but this is comedy to the Most High. All right. It said, then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. See, the Lord gonna stop playing with Esau. Okay. And he's gonna cause them to go to war, and he's gonna send back Yahushua. All right. As you get to verse 6, yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion, which is Yahushua. Okay. So this is where things are headed. You know, for eventually the Lord's going to intervene and stop playing with this guy. Okay. And he's going to speak to them in his sore displeasure, and he's going to establish Yahushua and the King of Kings and Lord of Lords in the earth, and it's going to be a righteous kingdom. And all this shit that Esau got, the Lord's Yahushua finna destroy, man. His infrastructure, you know, his technology, his banking systems, and all this finna be destroyed, man. Okay, his whole system is finna be destroyed. So that was the point, you know, I wanted to get into that this morning. You know, Lord will, you know, say we watch some more of that channel. You know, I think it's called I put the link, you know, I think this would be a good channel to watch. You know, this guy here, Patrick Wood, you know, he goes in on the technocracy. You know, that's his specialty. So we know, all right, this is what these devils really want to bring. Okay. So let me post this, you know, for you brothers. All right, they want to tap into that, you know. So Lord will, you know, we'll have some more content coming from this channel, you know. But Lord will, you brothers and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole elect. Shalom.